There's a story most of us heard before we could even read. A thirsty crow, a tall pot, water just out of reach, and a handful of small stones. You probably remember how it ends. But today, I want to ask you something different. I'm not going to talk about the crow's cleverness. I want to talk about the moment before when the crow looked into the pot and could see the water but couldn't touch it. That gap between where you are and where you want to be. Because I think that's where most of us live a lot of our lives. The crow is thirsty, the water is there, but she can't reach it. And for a moment, just a moment, she thinks about giving up. Sounds familiar? That moment, that pause before the pebble, that's not weakness, that's being human. But here's what the story always skipped over in the telling. The crow didn't find one big solution. She didn't suddenly grow taller or stronger or smarter. She just picked up one small stone and then another and then another. Not a plan, a practice. I want to ask you something and I want you to actually sit with this thought. What's your pot of water right now? What is it that you can clearly see, the version of yourself you want to be, the relationship you want to repair, the work that would make you feel alive, but can't seem to touch? You can see it. You know it's real. And there's that gap. And sometimes the gap feels like failure, like something must be wrong with you because you're standing right next to the thing you want and still not having it. We grew up hearing the crow story and cheering for her cleverness. But nobody told us that cleverness wasn't the point. The point was that she didn't leave. She stayed with the problem. She stayed with the discomfort. She let herself be in the gap and she just kept dropping stones. Most of us are waiting for the moment everything clicks, the breakthrough, the realization, the one big shift that rewrites the whole story. But what if the shift was always meant to be small? What if you've been waiting for a wave and the water was always going to rise one pebble at a time? Inner work rarely looks like progress. Not at first. You drop a pebble. A 30-day handwriting practice, one day at a time, one pebble at a time. And slowly you will have one honest conversation with yourself. You set one boundary. You say the thing you've been swallowing for months, and the water slowly rises. Not visible yet. And the voice in your head says, see, nothing changed. It's not working. But it's working quietly below the surface. The way real things shift, not at once, but accumulated layer by layer, pebble by pebble. And some of them abandon the pot at exactly the wrong moment. They stop right before the water reaches the brim. They were 3 pebbles away from being able to drink and they walk away because this nothing is changing feeling is often the feeling right before something changes. The crow didn't have a teacher standing beside her. She didn't have a mentor, a voice in her ear saying, keep going, you're close. But you can have that. That is what I want Inner Shift Studio to be for you. The voice that reminds you to pick up the next pebble which you've forgotten why you've started. The crow didn't know she would reach the water. She just kept dropping stones. That's all this is. That's all it ever was. Before you leave, I want you to leave with one question. What is one pebble you can drop today? Not a plan, not a transformation, just one small thing that moves the water even a little. Drop a small pebble by reaching out to me, Gayatri Balaji, at the Inner Shift Studio, and trust the accumulation. If something in today's conversation stirred something in you, if you're standing at a pot right now and you're tired of standing alone, Inner Shift Studio is where that work deepens. This isn't a space that tells you to be fixed. It's a space that reminds you you were never broken. You were just thirsty and the water was always closer than it looked.